Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 1998 Toyota Tacoma. Just kidding. We're actually going to take a look at this 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Let's get started. I want to first thank the team over at Toyota for letting me and a few others come to their training center here in Texas and get to enjoy some of these great vehicles. And seeing something like this 98 Tacoma, I remember these when I was in high school. They had just come out and they were just so cool. Such a small, compact truck, and these were perfect for the mini truck scene, whether they were going into lowrider or they were being turned into off-road trucks or just everyday commuter vehicles. But definitely was great to see one of these. Now, this one has seen better days, but like I said, it's still great to see one of these in person. We're going to take a look at the exterior of the Tacoma as well as the interior. Now, we had access to two trims. We had a TRD off-road as well as a limited trim. I unfortunately don't have any footage from driving, but I hope to soon get one of these to be able to give you a full comprehensive review. I will tell you though, as far as driving impressions, this thing was incredible. It is a completely different animal compared to the previous generation, and in the best possible way. It is significantly smoother for everyday driving, but don't be fooled because these things are still really capable compared to last generation. So let's get started. We take a look at the headlights, and I was actually really impressed with this design. Now, I typically don't like the orange elements in some headlights, but in this, it looks really good. Now, the Limited is going to have a different design to it, and I kind of noticed that when they were essentially side by side. One of the things I'm glad they kept was the headlight adjustment. Now, you can take a look here, and I've had to speed it up and copy it multiple times so you can see the actual movement of the headlights, but you do have the adjustment available there, which is still nice to see that in the Tacoma, in case you decide to go a little bit higher with the suspension. The new design grille looked really nice, especially in that black color. Now, to add to that, when we got a little bit lower, we got the fog lights that are now a horizontal shape, which I'm sure the aftermarket will start to develop lights for that opening. And underneath, we get to see a little bit of protection for the oil pan, as well as the red Bilstein shocks peeking through there. Overall, though, I do love the new front end design with those awesome looking headlights, the nice grille design, especially in that black color, and let's say the new design to those fog lights, and just hoping to see what the aftermarket has for this Tacoma. Under the hood, we get the iForce 2.4 liter turbocharged inline 4 engine, and it is cranking out 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 8-speed automatic and then to the Toyota 4-wheel drive system. Now, the short time that I got to drive it, I gotta say the power delivery was extremely smooth with very to little turbo lag, considering that the peak torque actually comes in at an astonishing low 1700 RPM. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this beautiful 17-inch machined alloy wheel, and it is wrapped in the 265/70 BF Goodrich trail terrain tire. When we were driving the Tacomas, the weather was actually extremely bad with heavy rain, not just falling down, but already on the road, and thankfully, when I hit a puddle, I had no issues with getting all the water out of the way for the tire to have grip on the road. This TRD off-road did have the Predator drop step, which I am a huge fan, and man, do they look nice. To give it a nice wide look, the Tacoma has these black fender covers, which look really nice, and the front one actually even had opening for aerodynamic purposes. Here's a little peek underneath where you can see all the drivetrain components. And of course, if you get a Tacoma, especially in this white color, that you opt for the black chrome exhaust tip because it just looks so good. You could see the taillights here with the LED design that look nice, simple, classic, and very similar to the Tundra. One of the biggest things that caught me by surprise was this. The 24 Tacoma has a built-in high lift jack point in the rear. You open up the tailgate and thankfully it's dampened so it doesn't just fall right back down. And we do have the composite bed. Now, one thing I just kind of can't get over with is the finish to the sides because it actually looks unfinished. I was hoping for a different texture, hoping for just a different look to those panels on the side. In all honesty, it looks half done. I was actually surprised by the door design because it was actually pretty futuristic, almost concept-like design to it, which is nice and welcoming for Toyota, which can sometimes play it a little bit safe. But overall, though, I did like the design, but it did lack a little bit of functionality with smaller cubbies for storage. We get to the seats and they were nice and comfortable, but the inserts themselves, the seating area, was a lighter color, which doesn't look bad, but I know, especially with a kid, that's going to get dirty. Now, this did have electronic control for the lumbar support, but the rest were manual controls for seat positioning. Now, this steering wheel isn't going to win awards for looks. It does look a little on the plain side, but functionality is 1000% there. The dimpled leather on the side was really comfortable and great to grab on. Again, I wish it had a little bit of, I guess, flair to the wheel. And I can tell you from driving it, though, that whoever designed the steering rack ratio to the Tacoma deserves all the raise in the world because it felt perfect for the amount that you were turning the wheel and the end result that you got from the position of the wheel. So hats off to you. We get to the gauge cluster and it is an all digital display. Now, obviously disregard the check engine light. The vehicle isn't even on. We are in accessory mode. And I did like the fact that we have those 3 different settings that we can change between, kind of like presets essentially. And we had different gauges that we can change from within the tachometer as well as the speedometer. Probably where I would keep mine, depending on what I'm doing, would be traction monitor and the pitch and roll gauge, just for some fun. And also in the middle, we had all the different options as well. Overall, though, I'm excited to get to drive this and play around with the different modes and different presets that we have with this gauge cluster. As far as the shifter goes, it's pretty simple, very straightforward, nothing out of the ordinary for a shifter. What I do like, though, on the side is this handle with that textured feel. And of course, with the new Tacoma having 4-wheel disc brakes, we do get an electronic parking brake as well as a brake hold. We get to the fun knob, as I'll call it, and it took me a little bit to kind of understand how to play with it, but it's essentially you push the mode that you want as the actual button, and then you spin the dial to change that specific item. Yeah, let's just say the tactile feel to this thing was incredible, so definitely the fun wheel. Underneath the fun knob is how you get to switch over from 2 high to 4 high to 4 low. You do have to first press that little button on the side in order to switch them. This TRD Off-Road only had the rear locker, but on the Limited you'll see what those other blank buttons would be. The rear door also had that similar futuristic look or concept look that I described of the front door. And with this one though, you do get a couple of cup holders or area for cup holders at the bottom. You get to the back seats and they're the same design as the front ones. One thing I do want to mention though is this back seat does look a little bit on the tight side. You also do have the option though of lifting up the bottom for a small amount of storage that you can put back there, but I'm still concerned with the amount of legroom that you get in this rear cab. Moving over to the Limited, the easiest way to identify it is by its big chrome grille at the top and the bottom. Like I mentioned, the front turn signal is going to be a little bit on the different side. You're not going to see that orange. But one thing I did notice was that you get an illuminated Tacoma on the side. Now, I typically don't mind chrome grills, but when the TRD Off-Road's black grill looks that good, it's a little tough to pick this chrome over that one. One thing that the Limited does have is this lower air dam to help with aerodynamics and possibly with MPGs. And as you can see, it actually sits fairly low, so just be careful and try to avoid any off-roading in this Limited. You also get the body colored fender flares, but honestly, I prefer the black colored ones. As for the wheel and tire package, you get the 18-inch chrome finished alloy wheels with the 265/65 General Grabber tire. With the Limited, you do get spoiled with the power extending running boards, which make it easier to get into the truck, and yeah, one of those finer touches for modern day pickup trucks. You also get the power open and close tailgate that you can open by pressing the button next to the tail light and it will go down. You can also make it go up by pressing the same button or using your knee to lift it up. It will activate the closing process. The Limited is going to have a little bit of different finishes. You'll get this walnut burl wood accent to it, which looks really nice on that door. You also get the Softex trimmed seats, which look incredible, and they're super soft and comfortable. Only thing is, yeah, they are in white, so make sure you have your leather cleaner. The steering wheel is still going to be the same as the other model. Unfortunately, you don't get a special steering wheel for the Limited. It would have been nice to have a little bit of that walnut burl wood accent on it. You do get the option for adaptive variable suspension on the Limited, which is why the drive modes will include something like the Sport S Plus, which is Toyota's typical option of adjustable suspension. If you like big screens, don't worry. You get a 14-inch multimedia display, which I can tell you borderlines a little too big. Some of the buttons that were missing from the TRD Off-Road were the trailer button, the panoramic view monitor, as well as the auto start stop button. I'd like to thank the Toyota team for inviting us over and letting us take a look at the Tacoma, as well as driving it for a little bit. Now, I'm excited for this new truck, and the biggest thing is we have a ton of choices. We have different trims, different cabs and bed configuration, drivetrains, colors, packages. Now, how would you build your Tacoma? Let me know in the comments, and remember, find the right gear. See ya.